of the French. Today, the Aussies have 7% more support, but there is no doubt about it. This is a David and Goliath matchup once again. Wolves are the clear favorites, and Bliss must prove that yesterday was no fluke. They have to do it again.
Just sounds like some more Aussies have woken up around this time for the BO3 to come through instead. Team Bliss taking on Wolves in a best-of-3 series. How exciting it's going to be. In the first band to jump off for Team Bliss is going to be Ying. So they do want to take away some of that disruptive execute capability that Wolves might have on the attack. And the Monty, actually a repeat ban for what SSG did earlier today. I might be quoting that one wrong.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But probably taking away one of the tools that your support players like to use. I look back on Fisher Guy and think of how he's been able to enable some of his attacking strategies on top of the Monty, and they just want to cut that out. They don't want to have to deal with that.
Interesting, that Monty ban, because we haven't seen a ton of Monty from Bliss, but it's also, funnily enough, I looked back, Copenhagen Major, W7M also banned it against Bliss, and Bliss got smashed 7-1 in that game. So clearly, a lot of these international teams favoring banning Monty against Bliss over other operators, and there's a lot of other operators you might want to ban out, especially now with Wolves starting on that attacking side. Consulate is not an easy map to attack. But fortunately for them, Bliss have banned out the Solus, enabling a lot of pre-placed drones, and we're already seeing the special drone squad, as you love to see. You love to say, Mandy, both the Twitch and the Flores in this opening round, at least for now.
Yeah, another thing to point out as well with the ban phase going through is that, well, you've got a lot of your roam clearing operators left in the game as well. Consulate can be quite a challenging map to play in through the mid-rounds, right? There are a lot of rooms that you need to clear. And so by the time that you actually head your way into the building, having stuff on board like your Jackal, like your Lions, that kind of thing, can make the difference as you clear in through the map. First bomb site of choice for Team Bliss is going to be the one on the ground floor, of course, replacing out the old lobby and piano one. Has now turned into Expo and piano instead, with lobby being sliced off in half with the new rework.
I gotta say, I'm glad you know the callouts, because I've played a whole bunch of Consulate, but my callouts are still a little bit shaky for all of the new rooms. A lot of this map, we've seen new rooms placed in, or old rooms have been split into multiple new rooms, and Expo is a great example of that. But this bomb site, we haven't seen a lot of Consulate, at least not in our regions that we've been casting, but I've seen a surprising amount of this lobby, or rather press, and I think it's called press instead of piano, whatever it is. Expo, like I said, I don't know the call-outs, I'll be fumbling my way through it. This bomb site here, not favored in ranked in my experience, but clearly quite effective. And wow, P4, great value early on with that Twitch drone taking out so much utility on the bomb site.
Does look like Wolves are looking for their usual MO, immediately putting on that pressure and focus in towards the bomb site to see what they can collect. But the Bliss are actually putting their pressure upstairs instead, wanting to hold on to their vertical game from up and looking down below. And that's why it's pivotal that some of these Wolves players have jumped on this rappel, are overall on this yellow side of the building to try and take care of business over here.
Look at that, Selma's already placed here on the wall into the bomb site. Will this mute jammer impede the direction of that Twitch drone? It will not, and so the Twitch drone can take it down and open up this wall. Fortunately from Oda, he's got impacts and he can stave at least a little bit of that breach away, but P4's gotten so much value out of these drones. Now information, now Mowgli moves on in. He's looking for the opener, but Oda has moved away and he's found one, traded on back again, but Wolves sustain a numbers advantage.
Danger mode here for Shinka, though, as he tries to make his way on into the bomb site. He's worried about the vertical pressure above. And speaking of, that's Fisher Guy that suddenly comes to life, active in the server. Brendo to double down onto Deadshot as well. Now 3-on-2, although the bomb is going down for Wolves.
Nearly half the round remains. And this 3v2 in favor of the defense now is flipped upon its head, as they must attack themselves. Mowgli in all kinds of pain at the moment, caught in the dread mine. He is afeared. Brendo's found the first. Low HP Mowgli, which way to watch? Too many angles, too many players to deal with. The first one dealt with handily as the Azami of Brendo looks to protect himself. He has the time to make this one work. Mowgli must reload, but Brendo's good for 3 and good to close the round for Team Bliss.
Oh man, great retake from Brendo as well. Just coming in from the top floor and then coming back down in through the spiral stairs and taking down the players that he needed to make sure they could actually get their way safely back into the bomb site and take down the diffuser. Really nice stuff there from Team Bliss to retain their composure. I think after that first series with Wolves, surely they know that they really cannot extend that much through the map, right? Because the moment that they give up the bomb site, Wolves are going to jump their way on through. And we saw them do that in that first round. Oda was really ready for it. He was on one of those more self-sufficient operators of Legion to make sure he had that passive intel for them actually coming in through Zulu and trying to make a quick entry onto the site. He then comms that to Fisher guy, who takes care of the vertical, and then Brendo goes in for his massive retake back down the stairs. And Bliss just playing a little bit more closer together, I would say, and a little bit more in towards the bomb site is kind of what they need against these Wolves attacks.
I think the big opening for Bliss there is that their awareness that Wolves are going to be going for things like that on the bomb site so early in the round. We talked about this a lot yesterday on Chile. How many rounds did we see Wolves go for mini rushes in the mid-round straight onto the site? They say, look, Bliss, you're trying to hold the other side of the map. You've got this crazy extension. We don't really care. We see the single point of failure on the bomb site as if we kill this player, we win the round. They go for it. And so Bliss's willingness to be aware of that and their keenness to retake has aided them immensely.
Retake strategy is not something that you normally see as well in Rainbow Six.
Perhaps one of the better bomb sites for it. That's press room and exposition
Yeah.
room or whatever it's
Exposition.
called. Is it exposition?
Yeah, I think
Okay,
so. Yeah, very
I'll take
nice.
Is it press or piano? I don't know. Is it actually? I don't know.
I don't know if it actually has an official call up, but I think I almost never use the official call ups.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Well, in the old consulate, the room everyone called piano was actually technically called press.
But it has a big piano in it.
And it has a big piano in it. Well, fun fact, we're in a technical timeout, by the way, if you're wondering why we're having a bit of a chin wag. But on Cafe as well, the room everyone calls piano is actually called Cigar Lounge.
Yeah, but then there's also Cigar Shop.
I know. And
So
then
that's not cool.
I've heard people call piano, the room piano, cigar. And I'm like, no, that is not right. That is confusing. If you want to call it lounge, I will allow that. But only if you call cigar shop. Yeah. Anyway, this is the trials and tribulations.
Pedantic.
Oh, I'm a Rainbow Six Siege player.
No, I think the big thing about Consulate is that because you've got the half-sliced rooms, right, and lots of your nooks and crannies and corners. All the teams have got to go through these call-out dry runs and make names for silly spots and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Because especially when you're journeying through a map like Consulate where it has so many rooms and you have to check everything, you need specific call-outs for little
this side
rat
of the
spots.
room, that side of the room.
Especially a room like Expo. Now I'm thinking of labs. That's the next map.
Next
this
map.
one. So yeah, especially rooms like Expo. The whole room is Expo, but it's massive. You know, surely one side of Expo has got to be something, and the other side of Expo.
Yeah, good luck. Try to
Expo's
say
got to
that
be something
sometimes
else.
fast.
You know? Yeah.
Very much so, and yeah, I think Consulate is a map with a lot of those little nooks and corners and crannies and indestructible half walls to hide behind and crouch behind and play around, and that's why it can historically be a very hard map to roam clear because there are so many little corners for roamers to play.
Yeah.
In comparison to a map like Bank, where there's actually far fewer places to clear. You think on the top floor, if you're roam clearing that top floor, it's actually kind of hard. There's not as much indestructible cover to hide behind. Now, we're almost through this technical timeout. I can tell you guys right now, all 10 players are in the lobby. We're doing the final checks, and we're about to start once again. The score, 1-0 in favor of Bliss after a successful defense of Expo and Piano.
I think do keep in mind at the moment the game does have a tendency to be a little defender-sided. It doesn't really seem to matter what map it is, as far as I'm concerned. There are some maps that we used to call attacker-side, like your chalets and borders.
Do you want stats, or is that too boring?
You can get stats if you want, but I feel like as a whole, the way that the game has changed since the halfway point through this year has been quite tough to attack.
Well,
It's not impossible, but it's tough.
According to my stats, this is just for the stage, for all of the BR6 leagues, not including the major. We are at every single map being defender-sided, most by a significant margin, with the exception of Chalet, which is 51% attack-sided, and the overall average across the league for every map is 56%.
I'm not surprised by
So
that, to be honest.
it backs up exactly what
I
you're saying.
wouldn't be too surprised. Yeah, Chalet of all maps as well is probably the more attacker-sided of the entire pool.
If anything, I'm surprised that maps like Border are not more attacker-sided.
Alas, we are on Consulate. And Consulate being one of the newer maps in the pool sort of does fall into that philosophy as well. So for Team Bliss, here we go. They are looking for a pretty extended roam in through the map. It's going to be aided by the castle of Brendo that we've just been on board with. It's in fact all the way down inside of the basement bomb site for Team Bliss as they make their second attempt at a defense.
There's so many different choices for Wolves to make on this huge behemoth of a map. Do they look to push from the front? Do they look to push from the back? Do they look to full roam clear? Do they look to partial roam clear? Do they want vertical game? At the moment, Breach on the main garage wall. Wedables has the ability to impact Trick, as I think he did manage to successfully do with the second charge, yet has remained intact. I think the first goo mine was, sorry, the first impact nade was just off to the wrong spot.
I kind of like that.
Delivered.
I do like that from Team Bliss. You only open up half of the soft wall, so you impact trick off like the other exterior half. That's cool. I don't mind that. I've actually never seen that before. I feel like that's more common than it should be, but I just haven't seen it because we barely overcast console. Anyway, that's awesome. Here we go. Wolves on their roam clear, though. They have made headway in through the ground floor, given that Visa has been completely segmented off by this castle setup. And that does mean they've now been afforded hatch control inside of Visa. There are 2 hatches that lead down into the basement, but here goes Mowgli.
Oh! Sharp shot there from Oda with the commando. Guess what? It's an Aussie on the Mozzie. And he's already found the opener. Mowgli's gone down. Bibu looking for an attempted refrag. But this is very solo, and he has no logic bombs left to aid him.
P4 as well, trying to take the duel on another player down inside the basement. It's a really tough spot now for Wolves. They're not quite sure what the safest way to get from the ground floor to the bottom floor is. And Brendo's in a really good spot here as well, inside of Expo, with that hatch being opened up going into the bomb site. It's going to force Wolves to actually want to clear out his position if they want to go in for an execute in through the bomb site.
This is so awkward for Bibu now. P4 as well, supporting here. Brendo around the corner, but he perfectly times his rotation. Hits the blind spot, finds the first, but a good trade there. Shinka has moved on in, but up above, Sachin maintains map control and dominates with it. Bibu's moved on in, but he's so exposed right now. Deadshot is in a very awkward position. He might find the first. Can he find the second? A shotgun to the face puts his dream to rest. All on Bibu now, who's managed to sneak in. Oh, what a shot!
Geez.
1v2. And Mandy, this is winnable. The diffuser is within his clutches. And these players are so separated. A long angle for Fisho Guy spells death for Deadshot. And the round for Team Bliss, 2 on the trot.
Oh man, that was so cool from Team Bliss. That was a really multifaceted defense, extending their way all through 3 floors of the maps. They knew that the core, the heart of that defense was Brendo, being inside of Expo on the hatch with all his lines of sight and rotation holes to wreak havoc and run riot around that ground floor, in through Zulu, fighting players that are coming in through lobby side, for example. And that was the heart of the defense. And what they needed to do was just make sure that they had sort of an orbit around the heart of defense, right? That was Sage in the top floor, and that was Fisher Guy down in the bottom floor, making sure that no one could then hit the actual bomb site in through the spiral stairs or Visa stairs or whatever you want to call it these days, right? So really well played there from Bliss to hold on to what was the essential part of their defense, and Wolves just not having a very good dissection of the plan.
Yeah, very hard read there for Wolves. And that's the thing, right? If Wolves do not have the ability to hit site hard and there's no obvious way for them to clear the full map, then I think they do struggle a little bit. It's something we've noticed about Wolves, I would say, in these last few games. If there's a slow but sure and very methodical way that's very ambitious, okay, we've got to clear this whole map, we've got to clear this position and that position, Wolves will typically look for an alternative. They don't want to address issues head on. They look for something a little bit more creative, and Bliss are denying that.
I think it's fair enough. When you go into a map like Consulate, it can be quite a challenging map to roam clear, so why not just take the path of least resistance, cut corners in if you can. And that's what they've been trying to do to Bliss, but Bliss have kept them accountable 2 rounds in a row now on the defense as they switch their way up into the top floor. I'm so sorry. I have no idea who's observing this, but I feel terrible for you right now.
This is fine. We'll get past it. Deadshot's likely going to lose his Flores drone, and unfortunately he did not stay on it until it got destroyed, so we'll get there eventually, guys.
I'm a believer.
Well, I can tell you what's happening right now is I have a top-down view on the second monitor. Wolves have started to make some progress. Now, this is a top-floor defense. Hey! Aww. Wolves are attacking on the top-floor defense at the moment, and they're looking to take from the admin side of the map on the east. Now, Deadshot's made his way into the building, and Bubu's doing some good drone work. It looks like Bliss have quite a few defenders around the area, but no one hard contesting.
Bliss are trying to hold on to this soda position for a little while, but not too long. They don't really have a massive setup going in through the hallway, and so they just want to be able to fall back in towards the safety of the bomb site instead. Oh, it's us.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
The game is still being played.
The game is being played, so do we just keep
want to
going?
How good are you at drawing? Like, can you draw really fast?
I cannot draw very fast, but we can try and do some
All right,
hand signals.
We'll get the game back to you in a second, but do you want to keep... Oh, awesome. Okay, I guess you can see the kill feed.
Oh.
Can we go back to the full game? You don't need to see us. You really don't need to see us. You don't want to see us.
Thank
there you go.
See ya. Mowgli's taking down Oda for the first pick of this round. So far, Bliss holding strong inside of that top floor now. For your information, there is kind of no one in the building right now for Wolves. The only player that has actually stepped foot in the building is Mowgli himself, who is all the way down inside of the ground floor. He's still got 2 nades in his hand, so if they can get him to a safe spot, he can try and send some up through the floor. But finally, there is a bit more headway into the building. Deadshot is also now inside of Printer, but Bliss are still holding on to Soda for a little bit, although there's not a lot of utility inside of Soda. So Sage is going to be here for a little bit, but it's got to fall off pretty early.
Remember this, kids? Once upon a time, you would be watching your sport by listening on the radio. So just channel your inner retro and really enjoy this vibe.
You do a radio voice for the final 30 seconds of the round as Wolves are forced to go in for their
These guys deserve more than that. These guys deserve a hype cast for the final 30 seconds at the moment.
Execute.
Wolves still very slow on this attack. They've rotated Shinka with the diffuser over to the yellow stairs. P4 makes the first move into the bomb site, but he's taken down. A good trade as 2 kills are found by Wolves. It's now a 2 versus 2 with Bliss still holding an advantage. Shinka yet unable to force down this diffuser into the site as Bibu looks to support him from Library. Brendo's found the kill on the Shinka. Bibu's got no clue what to do. He has to make himself a rotate and desperately walk into no man's land as Bliss will handily win the round on time.
And we've got a tactical timeout from Wolves, which I think is fair enough. For y'all that weren't watching the game, which is all of y'all at home, there wasn't a lot to watch. I think is a very fair comment.
To be fair, like, yeah, if you did have the feed, you wouldn't have missed much.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If you guys were watching what Wolves were doing, there wasn't a lot to watch of what Wolves were doing because there wasn't a lot going on.
Well,
there was a lot of sitting on the roof and wandering and not a lot of doing.
Well, they got control of admin. They droned it several times. I think they only sent 1 player in there. They droned yellow stairs, but they didn't really like hard commit. They didn't have anyone repelling CEO. They didn't have any pressure from the meeting balcony or breach on that wall. It was very slow. And what's funny to me is that it's kind of what we saw yesterday with the Wolves and Bliss game. Wolves on their defense were very aggressive, probably too aggressive. Bliss read into it, and Bliss could just sit patiently and find kills. Wolves were almost expecting Bliss to play aggressively because Wolves were playing so slow. If Bliss had fed them some picks, yeah, Wolves would have run the round. But Bliss can sit safely knowing that time continues to tick down and Wolves aren't making any headway.
That's exactly right. And Laloon there having a few words there to Wolves. I don't think I can say a name properly either. We're actually terrible as Australians. I feel like all of our pronunciations for everything.
Even the word pronunciation is hard to...
Pronunciation.
Pronunciation? I think we'll go with pronunciation.
I'm going to forget. Anyway, yeah, Wolves I think just need to be a bit more proactive in the server. I feel like that's the main point that we need to say to them, right? Every round they've taken a little bit too long to then go in and actually decide like what is going on, right? Anyway, Bliss are going to go back over to the ground floor bomb site of Piano and Expo. I really don't know if it's Piano and Expo. We're going to run with it anyway. And it doesn't look like they're changing up their strategy all too much. I think the big point of difference is Wettables jumping here onto the Pulse instead. Actually, everyone's kind of switched up operators a little bit, right? So they must be running something different, but it does seem like it's more focused in on this basement, and they're going to send in some of those C4s in from bottom up. There are actually 2 C4s in the line of the defense as it stands, whilst also extending over horizontally.
Now, while we are 3-0, remember that this is a very defender-sided map, as we should expect this to be a defender-sided game. However, this is Wolves' map pick. They would certainly be gunning for 3-3 at the end of this first half. Bliss have also proven to be very good on attack, in both their map against Space Station and the map against Wolves. The Fisher guy trapped here at the bottom of yellow stairs. Gridlock, with her newfound popularity, locking him in place, but he will start to take down those track stingers and make his way up the stairs.
Mowgli's going to have a try at the entry as well, combined with the pace of P4 on the Amaru. They're really going to go in for this mini execute in on the top floor, but is there any resistance there to meet them? I don't think so. There are no Bliss players here.
No, nobody's there indeed. It was a nice idea to try and mini execute onto this top floor. Clearly, Wolves did not have full information on those players on the top floor. But I think Bliss are pretty chill with that. They're actually rather holding the basement. Wettables is getting all kinds of information. Oh, he's so lucky if this will work. Through 2 different floors, not a single bullet will land. Of course, Mowgli is on solid ground.
interesting from Wolves. I wonder what they're going to do from here. Really, the only vertical pressure they have is Deadshot with the 3 breach charges if he chooses to use so. But like you pointed out, the main point of Bliss's resistance is in the basement. That is where their info is coming from. And with Wettables being on that pulse scanner constantly, he is going to call to Team Bliss what the execute might amount for Wolves as they start to make their way down the yellow stairs. But Fisher Guy's on the other side with the shotgun.
Yeah, but there's a shotgun on the attack as well with Bibu and that super shorty.
Wettables needs to help.
Wettables does, but he's giving information at the moment. He can call out whether the player down below is looking to push. Fisher Guy feels a bit of pressure from that grenade, but he still holds on to his position. No gas, no util of any kind to try and support him, but Brendo finds the first pick, and now Mowgli must deal with this player on the stairs. Fisher Guy still remains in position.
They're giving up. They're not doing this anymore. They're like, okay, there are 2 players here. We don't want this anymore. Take the point of least resistance. And okay, apparently it works anyway. Mowgli to take down Sage in on the ground floor. And here comes the execute. Shinka to actually be taken down by Odo as he tries to put the diffuser in the bomb site.
Ibu's got to hold the stairs, but Fisher says, look at your shotgun, look at mine, which is better? P4's found one with that Amaru's SMG-11 on this top floor. He's got a shotgun of his own, and he's hunting for something more. But Fisher Guy, 5 kills in the game, gets the better of him. Mowgli, 1v3. No information, a lot of damage from that C4. No chance of planting here. Diffuser may be in pocket, but time certainly is not. And Wettables is safely down below with plenty of information to call. What a shot there. But he must do it now with the pistol. Fisher Guy a 3rd on the round. Bliss up 4-0 in the map.
Oh man, he's so chill about it too. Oh, we just got a smile. We got a Fisher Guy rare smile right at the end there. He was like, oh yeah, I'm cool. I'm collected.
That's rarer than gold.
And then we jumped over to Mingra and given him a fist pump, and he was like, heh. And a little Fisher Guy smile. That was sick. That was such a good round there from Bliss. They remained composed in the clear that Wolves were doing. I mean, they didn't need to do too much in terms of being super proactive in the server. I think the main point that we were on board with was, of course, a 2 versus 2 situational moment of Fisher Guy and Wettables like dueling P4 and Mowgli on the other side. But really, that was about it in terms of proactiveness for Team Bliss. Wolves just took a really long time to get things done, and even when they decided to go and try and get things done, they were like, nah, you know, we're not dealing with this. We just want to jump on in. And it just feels like Wolves have a aversion to problem solving. They just really don't want to commit to an idea.
They just yeah, it's right. It's a lack of commitment. I mean, it sounds like we're troubleshooting relationship problems at the moment for Wolves, but they do have relationship problems with these executes. They have great ideas, but sometimes you just have to commit to something because they spend a lot of time telegraphing and then they rotate off. And Bliss is knowing that Wolves are rotating off, and Bliss always, even with their resources spread thin, are capable of preventing these quick direct pushes on the bomb site.
Similar defense as well for Team Bliss as they go back down into the basement bomb site. Just segmenting off once again that Visa side of the map and making sure that Brendo is in his stronghold inside of Expo. Meanwhile, though, for Wolves, it does look like they are looking for that top-down clear. P4 is going to be the first point of entry inside of admin, just sending him a couple drones now to try and get his entry of Deadshot in. A C4 to bring out from Oda on the other side. Doesn't quite connect. P4 ready for that one. Meanwhile, Bibu on the top of yellow stairs is looking to try and claw his way in and take down the players in the top floor.
This top floor control has seemingly been easy to gain for Wolves. They don't have full information at the moment. I love the ram pick, though. Could really deal some damage, but of course, there's a lot of floors to take control of, Manny, before they can make good on this utility. And previously, this garage cafeteria was a real fortress for Bliss. It looks like that Soul Roamer has also fallen off safely as well.
Yeah, both of them fallen off actually back into the ground floor. Now, of course, the heart of this defense is Brendo inside of the ground floor. But with vertical control now given to the attack, P4 can start to get the Mars rovers on the floor, sampling up the floor, seeing what's going on down below. And that's where Brendo's going to be in danger. But Sage to collect the first one onto Mowgli is a good start for Team Bliss.
Very much is. Sage only takes a little bit of damage for it as well. I'm not sure where that went down. Last I saw, Sage was down near lobby, rotating back from piano. I believe he's still roaming in that ground floor as well. Man, half the round gone, Mandy, and Wolves still don't even have ground floor control. This is a basement defense, for goodness sake.
They really want to try and work this vertical to see what they can find, but there's another defender finally falling off back into the bomb site, thinking that they have wasted enough time, and it's leaving Brendo all alone on the ground floor. Finally, they can get the pinch out onto him. Deadshot to take him down, and now vertical control is in the hands of Wolves. They can hopefully now start to use P4's rovers. They didn't actually need it for the roam clear to start to pick apart the bomb site, but the rest of Team Bliss have actually vacated all the areas that are vulnerable to the vertical. They're playing adjacent to the bomb site instead.
The question is 45 seconds long enough to breach this main wall, to get vertical pressure, and to start executing onto the site?
They could do it. They could definitely do it. Shinka with his 2 smokes could certainly make an execute play work. Oh, but there's a bit of a tussle going down inside of Spiral as well.
Deadshot's just on flank watch duty. Fisho does not need to move. Look at that clock. Ever it ticks away. Wolves in the disadvantage. Shinka goes down. Sage has found his second in the rounds. Bibu desperate now from the yellow stairs. Gets a bit of damage onto Wettables, but he's not able to get the killing blow. And desperate now, he is spraying on through. Fisher goes on for a huge flank as well. Wettables finds one. Deadshot cannot land the killing blow. P4 desperate now, dropping the hatch. He falls, he dies. 5 rounds in a row for Team Bliss.
And they are on an absolute roll here on Consulate, on their defending side. Like you said, 5 rounds straight. Wolves not even looking competitive in the server at the moment. They're doing nothing with conviction. It almost looked like a really solid roam clear from those guys. They cleared top to bottom, but they couldn't make the execute happen after that. Even though Shinka was in a prime spot to maybe make something work, the rest of his team wasn't able to help him where they were. And as they funneled their way on into the bomb site, they were caught in the shadow realm. They couldn't see anything, and they got gunned down.
Yesterday, Wolves on Chalet looked dominant against Bliss. Time and time again, they came up with these miraculous executes that Bliss had no answer for. It took an insane 5-round comeback from the Aussies in the second half and overtime to clinch that game. Here, we are seeing an even more dominant performance than we have seen from either of these teams thus far, and it is from Bliss. 5 rounds of defense straight. I don't care if you think Consulate is defender favored. Nothing should explain 5 rounds as dominant as we have seen. Wolves have 0 response. 1 final chance. Otherwise, it's Bliss match point.
Doesn't look like they're quite in the server just yet as were Bliss. They're going to go back up to this top floor. It does look like this time they are extending out over into admin. Now, last time this round happened, Yellowhome didn't see too much of it, but this time around they have actually changed out their strategy. They are extending their way over into Soda Hallway, even into Break, doing the triple Rio there, leaning into the Izami of Brando to make that a power position. But look at this from Wolves. They've identified all that resistance over in the admin side, and they're going to try something over on Yellow instead.
Which is what they ended up doing at the end of the previous round after spending so much time pushing admin. The X-factor ingredient here for me is P4. He's already got the Guru hook out.
I know.
Is there a play? Is there information? It's Fisher guy just around the corner waiting for it. P4 still holding that. He's now shot off the glass. In goes Mowgli. On the back of the nade, it might not have been heard. P4's in. Oh, he gets the killing blow, but only barely. Wettables finds Bibu. Deadshot also jumps into the fun. 3 players left for Bliss, but they make it even once again. Mowgli trapped here and killed by the rookie from Wettables. He's only been on this team for a goddamn month, and he's farming the French here at a major. Brendo to find the final 2. 6 rounds straight for the Aussies on Wolves' map pick. You never see anything like this. They found themselves on map points.
What just happened in that round as well? What on earth happened, Dev? You blink and you miss it, and Wettables has got 3 kills in the server. What on earth is going down at the moment for Wolves? They tried to land what was a super early near rush to execute, all 5 of them jumping into the building, and somehow Bliss knew exactly what was going on. Within seconds of nothing happening, they thought, oh no, it's like bad times are headed in the way of the bomb site. We got to come back. And Brendo and Sage and everyone that was extended over on the other side, they started creeping their way on back in, and Wettables was like, it's all right, guys, I got this. And he gunned them all down as they tried to repel him through the windows. What a crazy round.
That's the thing. Bliss have read into Wolves to perfection. They know Wolves are always going to try something crazy, something aggressive, something sparky onto the bomb site. And all it takes to counter that is sitting back, cool, calm, and collected. One wet table. That's all it takes. Just one.
Oh man, here goes Wolves though on their defending side of the basement. We'll see if they have the same success that Bliss did. Different strategy and philosophy as well from Wolves. They're not opening up the expo hatch, instead they have it closed, but they are still dedicating themselves to this 3-floored roam. Deadshot even dedicating a couple of those mute jammers in through the top floor to try and stunt the drone work of Bliss. And the drone work through Consulate is the hard part, right? Even though you might be able to make your entry into the building, then getting the info on all the little rooms and stuff and wherever they can be is the hard part.
Bliss are tested in a new way here on their attacking side, but Wolves have got to be shattered after such a tumultuous first half. Never a moment where it looked like they were going to win a round. Convincing victory after convincing win from Bliss. Now, slow and steady wins the race, it seems. How do they go on their roam clear? This is a basement defense. Mowgli on the roam.
Double soft breach for Team Bliss. Both the Buck and the Sledge is in play for Waterballs and Sage, and they were going to want to make full use of it, not just to actually tear up the floor in the bomb site, but also to aid their roam clear as well. Bondo's going to kick things off here in the top floor and is going to get on the Clutch drone to try and set things up for the execute. Meanwhile, this is where Sage and Waterballs can start to get to work and to pick away the defense that is on the ground floor.
And that defense is primarily Mowgli, a solo roamer. Oda, what a great angle he is here. Mowgli's still in a position to deal some damage. He's supported as well by P4. Both of these players have had their fair share of decent games in the past. Mowgli a little bit quiet in this tournament thus far. Deadshot also up, Mr. Consistent himself. The Swede, and he finds one. This Swiss player is tearing up heads. He's taken down Wet.
A solid shot there from Deadshot. Oh, but he's going to be seen by the vertical. He's being chased. And Mowgli's actually going to collect another one to Brendo. So does P4, doubling down a pretty heavy man deficit for Bliss. Wolves really coming out on top in this roam game.
You blink and you miss it. It was a great setup from Bliss on the top floor, but these three roamers have put them under the pump. Now pushing up, it's Oda, SMG-12 in hand, as one of his opponents looks to force himself down the stairs. The Goo-Mine in foot will make things difficult. Sage, and oh no, he's got to be careful because P4's right around that corner. He finds the double. Wolves are not done yet. No 7-0 embarrassment. The first step of many that will be required to make this comeback reality.
Solid roam as well from Wolves. They played so close together, really absolutely ready for those trades as the push came on through for Team Bliss. I liked the idea, go in for the vertical, try to flush them out in the horizontal, but some really nice shooting from Wolves. P4 in particular taking down players as they came to him through the ground floor. Even though they felt the pressure in through the vertical, it didn't amount to anything because they were able to take those one-to-ones that they needed onto the Bliss players and close it out.
Defenders, protect your bomb.
Is this defensive favorite game, Andy?
Maybe. I mean, like Rainbow Six is the tale of two halves.
It is.
That's what we say these days. And you have no idea. I swear the amount of 5-1 or like 1-5 comebacks that we've seen this stage alone is like, oh damn.
But have we seen any this tournament? I don't think we have.
Yeah, true.
I don't know.
This is a different level.
We've seen a 6-0, right? Because we almost had a 7-0 that I think ended up a 7-1, if I recall correctly. Maybe it was one of the Knights games. Perhaps I think they struggled a little bit. I don't know. Former Knights player, Sajan, from another region entirely, back in the day when Knights were in the Ost region. Unfortunately, they were not able to make it to the second phase of this major, but Bliss and Wolves are now battling it out to see if they can do so themselves. And Bliss are making a very convincing case at the moment on Wolves' own map pick. But the first shining light amongst the darkness for the French has been found in that first round of defense. Let's see if they can do it again.
And Wolves are going to send us up to the top floor bomb site, having successfully defended the basement and looking to extend their way over into break room. They're going to be contesting that admin side push, which is what Bliss seems to be looking for at the moment. Getting an early breach onto meeting does allow them an entry in and will set themselves up for later, but that's not going to be the first point of defense here for Bliss. Sorry, the first point of attack. They're attacking now, gosh. Anyway, I've still got a lot to deal with.
Indeed. Oh, I like this. Fisher go around the 0. That's a really well-placed Sam Cam as well. A lot of information to gather. Drones in to support. No Solus makes that a whole lot more difficult to counter. Great work from Wettables, just slowly but surely clearing away this utility. Barbed wire gone. Checking out what's going on now inside of bathroom. Another Azami Keeper barrier dispatched with as well.
Here goes Oda. one of the first moves in the building on the ace himself, and he's going to be able to open up some of these walls inside a break room and allow a point of entry in. The main point of resistance that Bliss are going to meet here if they want to dedicate themselves to the crossover is that Soda hallway. Not only is there a shield there with all the ADSs, but there's even the Azami being actively played by Mowgli. He's got one more of those keeper barriers in his pocket, and he can use that spontaneously to lock out Team Bliss.
What a shot from Mowgli as well. That's what we need to see a lot more of for Wolves to get in the game. Oda never had a shot there, never had a chance. Mowgli still survives. That Soda setup still very pertinent. Wedables is completely out of Rotero drones.
This is an interesting pivot. Fuchsia Guy with the diffuser in hand is going to put some claymores over on the CEO side of the map instead. I'm anticipating that Bliss here have seen the resistance that's going down inside of Soda, and they're like, okay, let's try and do yellow instead. That's Brendo hopping into the building, making his way down yellow, checking for any flankers. There is Deadshot on the other side he has to worry about.
Sage can jump in as well and try and make something work from meeting. A nade could enable that. The sound cover perhaps, or just clearing one of those key positions. He's waiting for a peek. He actually has a very long line of sight to work with as well, deep into split. Wedables is rotated over. This is well and truly telegraphed for Bliss. Wolves know what's up.
They certainly do, as Wedables is going to send in a flashbang, but is it enough to dislodge the player on the other side of Fuchsia Guy, who is the danger man?
Sage finds the opener. Mowgli finally goes down P4. He's the man of the hour. He found the last 2 kills to close the previous round, and now he's found the pivotal one. Diffuser cold on the ground. As of the 5 bodies of Team Bliss, Wolves got their second on defense.
Yeah, it seems like this is going to be a defender-sided game, Dev. I think Team Bliss are facing the exact same adversities that Wolves were facing when they were on the attack as well, spending a lot of time loitering outside of the building, not really getting all too much done aside from opening up the main breach into meeting and going for some of that pressure there. They didn't quite dedicate themselves to the admin take. Now, all credit to them. I can understand that. That is a point of a lot of resistance. There's a lot of stuff going on in the hallway, and inside of the hallway itself, it can be a really tough spot to then like send in utility, right? Because it's kind of like perpendicular to where you would throw it inside of break room. So they're thinking, okay, no, we don't want to do that. Let's go to yellow. But by the time that they made that call, they'd completely telegraphed that push. Wolves completely flipped their defense around, facing exactly where they were coming in from, and P4 to take down the planter really sealed the deal.
Let's have a look at this Bliss timeout. Funnily enough, it's not their coach Mingoran doing most of the talking. It seems to be the players themselves. Interesting. We often talk about seeding order. Now, Fisho is clearly the IGL, but he's second from the left. Wedables, the rookie, and the second most vocal player on the team. He's in the middle. You got the 2 brothers on the far side, Brendo and Sage. Do you have any insight or thoughts on their seeding order? Wedables in the middle. Jigsaw wasn't in the middle, was he?
No, he wasn't, but I think they play very different roles, right? Jigsaw out, Wedables in means that you lose your entry fragger. That being said, very talkative entry fragger, but you replace him in with a talkative support player instead. And Wedables, even though he's not the primary IGL of the team, he's the ideas man as well, right? He's the one that's like, okay, we can go for something that isn't a plan A, right? That's Wedables, and that's what he can do. He's just a good teammate, right, in general. And so having Fisher Guy and Wedables sitting next to each other and having that line of communication means that it alleviates some of the calling that Fisher Guy does, because Wedables knows what's going on his screen as well, right? So I think that, yeah, bringing in Wedables on your support, yes, it's a very big change from Jigsaw, but it does give them a lot more options in the decision tree, especially on their attacks.
Very interesting roster change. One of the more interesting roster changes for me personally that we've seen in Stage 2 is Wedables in and Jigsaw out. It's clearly an upgrade, despite what anyone would have thought. Bliss are doing better than ever, and these roles seem perfect for them.
All right. Can Bliss land the one attack they need, though? That is the question. They have been on match point 2 in a row now. Can they actually claim this one for themselves? Does seem like they are going to make their sweep in work from the admin side of the map. Oops. Fisher Guy just missing out on that mute jam slightly. Does mean that wall will stay closed for a little bit longer. It does seem like once again they are looking for that sweep in through the admin side of the map, but Bibu is there to meet their resistance on the Fenrir.
Mowgli's keen for this roam. The last few rounds, the roam game has been effective for Wolves. It's a good setup here. Of course, the bomb side itself is actually lobby press, or whatever you want to call it, whatever we were calling it,
Expo and piano.
This is quite a different bomb site to the previous ones. Fisher's got this opportunity once again. He wants to take out that mute chamber. He gets it this time. And that means Wedables can breach the wall.
Ooh, and a mirror window on the other side as well. Okay, that's me jammed as well, so Deadshot's going to keep his safety for a little bit longer. But Bliss are starting to make this sweep across the map work for them ever so slowly. Yes, the minute and 30 seconds is starting to tick down, and that's where the danger comes in. They still need to get both their vertical players with full control inside of meeting and perhaps inside of CEO if they can, to actually be able to wreak havoc on the bomb site. And that's why Fisher Guy has decided to rotate over to the CEO Repel. He knows that that pressure needs to start coming out on the players in CEO to enable his teammates to sweep their way on in.
How do you flush out this position though? Bliss, very slow at the moment. Brendo must be the tip of the spear and he must have an impact. Sejon looking to make something work from the yellow stairs. Oh, that's a lot of damage on the P4. Brendo now must move in and finish what his brother started. Both the brothers come to life. 5v3 now for Bliss, but Wolves are not done yet. They continue to fight. Wedables survives a C4 just barely, but meanwhile the diffuser must be picked up. 40 seconds remain for Bliss to close the map in a 4 versus 1.
Only 30 seconds left, like you pointed out, but it's Mowgli, the danger man for Wolves. He's going to hide, lying in wait as the time starts to tick down. Can Bliss convert this? Surely they can on match point to send us, hopefully, into this map too.
Desperate now for Mowgli, Wolves' own map pick, but Bliss do not rush this. They do not overcommit. A first pick for Mowgli, the refrag committed to. Is he going to land it? A third kill, but not enough. Sejon closes the game, and Bliss dare to dream, dare to imagine themselves taking down the Wolves a second time.